Welcome to CEO Money. I'm Michael Yorba. Thanks for joining us. I have James Friel, founder and CEO of AutoPilot Entrepreneur. James, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Glad you're here. All right, what are the 5 pillars of a successful business?
So every business, regardless of how big or how small it is, has to make sure that they're focused on the 5 key pillars of that business. And they are marketing, which is getting people to raise their hands and say they're interested. Sales, getting people to shake hands and say, hey, yeah, let's do this together. Delivery, which is giving the people the thing that they paid you for. Operations, which are the gears and the glue that keep everything together. And finance, which is really measuring the health and the validity of that business. And so focusing on those 5 pillars is in those ways is really something that I've seen in my experience as helping entrepreneurs know where to focus their energy, because sometimes things can become like one giant overwhelming mess. And if we break it into those 5 areas, it starts becoming easier to figure out what to do next.
Good. Do you run through a questionnaire so you figure out where the weak points are and
start
to break it down? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll talk about that just for a second. We have what I call a traffic light system. It's red, yellow, green. And we look at each pillar with red, yellow, or green. And red is that we have no systems in place. Things take a tremendous amount of effort to get a result. And we're not experiencing any leverage as a business owner when we're at red. Yellow is when we have maybe 1 or 2 elements of a system, people or processes or some tools in place, but they're not really all working together yet to achieve that outcome that we want consistently. And green is when people and processes and tools are all working together, creating leverage and giving us a predictable result. So we look at those 5 pillars, red, yellow, green, and almost in a few minutes, we're able to see exactly where we need to drill in and focus our energy to get that business to the next level.
Good. All right, you were about to go into people, process, and tools. You give us an overview, but this sounds like a good drill down.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people have a misunderstanding of what is a system. And I know that for a lot of us, we think systems are just software tools and technology and things that help us get our jobs done faster. And tools, as far as technology are concerned, are one part of a system. But every system really has 3 essential ingredients to it. It has people who need to either operate the system, to do things, to make things happen. There's processes. How are they going to do those things? And then there's a tool that helps to keep the whole thing moving along. And if you don't have people, process, and tools, you really have just a couple of the building blocks, but you're not going to have a system that really is functional. And it's kind of like driving a car with a flat tire. If you don't have all 3 of those elements, you're going to get to where you want to go. Maybe if you're lucky, your chances of having an accident along the way are higher. And so getting those 3 things into place is really like having that car that goes really fast when you want it to. And that's why we advocate those 3 pillars for a system.
How do entrepreneurs really get the leverage that they need?
Yeah, so through systems, all of us are confined to 24 hours in a day. And nobody is superhuman, unfortunately, even though many entrepreneurs think that they are. And so we need to enlist the help of other people. We need to make sure that those people are doing the right things and they have tools that support them. And so we believe that entrepreneurs get leverage when their systems are at green, when they have the people and the processes and tools all working together so that they can manage the numbers and not have to dive into the nitty-gritty and roll up their sleeves and actually do everything themselves.
And so many people really misunderstand the system. So working hard on the wrong thing seems to be a big problem for a lot of people. Can you explain how they can get that on the right side?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give you a great example. So using the 5 pillars that we've talked about and the traffic light system, let's say just like most entrepreneurs, I'm excited about working on my marketing and I'm excited about working on my sales. If I don't really make sure that my delivery and my operations can support that marketing and sales, then I'm just creating a business that doesn't have much foundation and it has the potential to cave in on itself. And so using those 5 pillars in the traffic light system, like we've talked about, gives the entrepreneur the clear understanding of where they should focus their effort so that they're not top heavy in one area or the other. And I think drilling into those things is really what gives people the way forward, as opposed to just looking at the business as one giant marketing and sales problem to be solved.
I agree. Now, the one thing that most entrepreneurs can do to grow and scale their company.
Get out of their own way. Most entrepreneurs are control freaks, myself included. And we tend to become bottlenecks in our own companies, and we create these great companies, but then they're almost prisons for us. And so we need to make sure that we have the right systems in place that enable other people to do the jobs that they need to do so that we don't have to be the ones doing them. I think that every person on planet Earth has a superpower, maybe 1 or 2 things that we're really, really good at, and everything else we shouldn't be doing. We should find other people who have complementary superpowers and plug them into our systems so that we don't have to do the things that we suck at. And I say to a lot of people, when you're hiring other people, you're not paying them for their time. You're actually buying back your own. And I think that's the number one thing that entrepreneurs need to do to get out of their own way.
And think that way.
Yeah, for sure.
Brilliant. All right, James, thanks for being a guest on the show. Appreciate this. I hope to have continuing conversations with you because what I've learned from you today is extremely valuable to me.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me, Michael. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. You've been watching CEO Money with Michael Yorba. Thanks for joining us. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.